Good morning and welcome to today's Q&A call. This call is all about you guys as the loan officers out in the field. I'm here to answer your questions. So if you do have a question, small enough group, you could raise your hand or drop it in the chat box if you are not comfortable raising your hand or don't have a mic readily available. Again, subject is based on what you guys need to see out there in the field. I do not drive the subjects in this class. I wait for someone to ask a question. But this morning, I do want to see raise of hands. Are you currently using HomeBot? So if you're using HomeBot, raise your hand for me. So I only have one hand raised. We did recently turn on the HomeBot integration where you can do it as an individual. If you are interested in this, I will place this down in the chat box. And there's some other information on there as well that you can dive into. Great integration because it is a hot lead. Your client has to request the TCA. So the link is a hot link, not even, or a hot lead, not even a warm lead. So if you do have HomeBot, I would suggest you looking into it. Michael, I see your question. I'm going to read it out loud. I provide investor loans for income properties, interest only 12-month loans. Scenario at closing loan amount is $100,000. 2 months into the loan, there's a draw for 25, increasing the loan to 125. 4 months into the loan, another draw for 25, increasing the loan. Unfortunately, Michael, we are not set up to do draws. So the closest thing that you could possibly do on here is to use the construction, because it's somewhat similar to a construction. Just like with the construction loans, we don't know exactly when the draw happens, but in your case, you do have a time frame with the draw. If you go in, and I'm just going to go into one of my clients here. This one's a purchase. And scroll on down here. Do I have 4 on there? I have 3. Okay, I'm going to go to this one and create one more to show that construction loan. So I'm just adding another product on here. And this is going to be a construction sample. So when you're doing a construction loan, the main difference with that construction loan is there is a button down here that says construction. So you would set it up just like normal with the scenario that you have as the individual loan comes to full term, what it would be. So whatever the down payment would be that they have to pay, whatever the interest rate that their loan would be at, and the term, and I'm going to say this one, let's just say they're doing a basic 30-year, and this is temporary to perm. So how many months in the period is the length of the interest-only time frame? So with that interest-only time frame, it looks like it is 12 months. And if there's a different interest rate during that time frame, you would put in that different interest rate. So what it's going to do is it's going to adjust it in that time frame, but that's the only thing I could think of to do this one with the draws being at different amounts, because unfortunately we can't add to the loan amount. We can only drop down the loan amount. The other thing that you might consider doing is showing 2 scenarios, one at the 100,000 and then one at the 125, and showing them as 2 separate scenarios. Oh, and then you have a third scenario at 4 months. So doing that, I would take the balance from the amortization schedule, and that would be after 2 months, I would start with that new balance from that 100,000, and then, and being said it's interest only, it would stay 100,000, and then just move it to 125 starting at that point. Does that make sense? But we really aren't set up to do draws. I'm going to unmute you. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Yeah, you answered my question. I didn't see the options in there. And
Yeah.
I just have to do,
Unfortunately, yeah, that's one of the places. Now, if you have a suggestion and you want to suggest adding in draws, I know right now the the team is working on getting our debt consolidation out, but there is a spot in here, submit us a request, and I'm just going to give this to you where you can submit it. And basically it's based on how people are saying how often it is. So the request. So I always suggest if this is something you need that's more common in your office, or you know, other loan officers using Mortgage Coach that would want it, let them know you put it in there and that they should add it as well, because then it'll go to the top of the list.
all right. If I took the approach of the three different scenarios based on the loan amount increasing, can I do that within one report?
Yes, you can. You can have up to 4 products. So if you were doing that, I would start my new client, and I'm just going to use your name. I would put your first name, last name, your phone number, and then presentation name. In the goal situation, I would simply put purchase a new home. The assumptions, I would start off with the 100,000. That would be my starting point. Product 1, giving it a name so your clients know what it is. So 100K. And then I would just build it out, whatever the down payment. Is there a down payment on it?
Yes.
What is that down payment?
Um,
And you actually say the closing amount is 100. So that would be the starting loan.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to say, let's say it's 105 and the down payment is $5,000.
Yeah.
So then you would have your base loan. You can put in your interest rate, whatever it is, the term, and is it a 30-year?
12 months.
Well, I know the first draw period is 12 months, but what is the full term of the loan?
12 months. The short-term loan.
12 months. I see. Okay. And that would stay the same. Interest only. Is it interest only the whole 12 months?
Yeah, 12 months, yes.
Yep. Okay. And then I would add your closing cost, if there's any points, prepaid days of interest. And these probably don't pertain to you, hazard and property and escrow impounds, correct?
There might be some, but yeah, for this discussion, no,
Yep.
that's fine.
So then I would add my second product, and this would be first draw. So my first draw, now the purchase price will go to the 125. And is there any fees associated when they do the draw, or it's just the draw?
No fees, yes.
So I would just do the 125.
Well, actually, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, yes, 125.
Yep, and then I would do the same thing, breaking it down. At this point, it would no longer be 12 months. It would be the 10 months because this is done in month 2.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
All right. I've got it from there. I can play with it, see how creative I can get.
Yeah, this is one you would have to get creative with. I have a couple of people that I work with that do have like interest only, and then they want to show the draws for construction. And so they've gotten creative on how they show theirs.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Tina.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Yep.
Any questions anyone else has? And again, you can raise your hand if you do have a mic. So Eric, I've allowed you to talk. You can unmute yourself.
Oh, hi. Oh, there's echo. I don't know if you hear that. I'm just joining here. I just signed up last night, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So,
I muted you. You have two mics going. That's typically the problem. So I'm going to unmute you. Oh, it won't allow me to unmute you. You'll have to unmute yourself. Okay, let's see if that's better.
okay, can you hear me okay now?
Yep, and it's not quite as bad as the feedback, so you might have three mics going. But you just started with Mortgage Coach?
I just signed up last night. There's still a tremendous echo, but anywho, I just signed up last night, and I don't really know where I'd go for training.
Okay, let me start first. Are you with an enterprise?
Yes.
What company are you with?
Family First Funding,
Family First Funding? Okay.
but I'm only signed up individually.
Okay, so as an individual, when you log into Mortgage Coach, there's a few things I want to show you. First off, if you go in just a new client and you float your mouse over anything, it does tell you what the important or some of them are if it's something you would question. So why would I put in a partner's email? Why would I put in? There's a lot of in-product learning that you can go in and be able to see what's going on in the product itself. And if you might already see it open, but there is a little square here with a pencil, that's a toolbox. Opening that up, there's some videos right here that are beginning videos that you can watch as well. And then scrolling on down towards the bottom, there is your MC calendar. In your calendar, every Monday is an intro training. So if live trainings work best for you, I would recommend jumping into the intro training. Robert leads it, great, slower pace than I do normally. So he's a good one to learn from. Tuesdays and Fridays are Dave's calls. Those are more sales led. Wednesday is our strategy calls. So once you have that basis of learning Mortgage Coach and you want to move up to that black belt, you need to learn those strategies, and this is the call you'll learn strategies on. And then of course today is our Thursday call. I also have a really good playlist in YouTube that I will provide you if you are a self-learner. So if you don't need to be on live calls and you feel like they drag out, or you're not one that tends to ask questions as much as you tend to seek out for yourself, I would recommend this playlist. And in here, it does go step by step. So I put them in order, setting up your settings. It talks about your Start Now button, how to create a total cost analysis faster. This one you can skip. This is me and Dave, and it's a longer version of some of these together. Creating and using fee templates. This is your absolute first step that will start you into actually building a TCA. You have to have templates in place to make it faster. Without templates, you're just going to keep redoing the same thing over and over again. Product templates, it goes into. Strategy templates, it's up to you. You can go in and watch the video and see what a strategy template is. It definitely speeds it up without integrations. And then it talks about sharing the link. So it really breaks it down step by step in that list. And if I was learning Mortgage Coach all over again, I would go to this list just because the type of learner I am. So based on your learning style, I would choose one of those paths. Any questions on any of those?
I don't think so. So you can email me that?
I put it in the chat box. If you open up the chat box.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Other thing I would suggest for anyone new is we do have an amazing Facebook group where you can go in, you can ask questions about the industry. It really is about you as the loan officers in the field being able to mastermind off each other. So we have a lot of stuff in here that we do push in, but like Dan goes in and talks about the industry and what's going on with the market. We have Ernie because the HomeBot was turned on, so Ernie's in there with us. So a lot of the different questions you might have about what's going on with the industry and how the loan officers are leveraging Mortgage Coach, this is where I would go for that. So, and I'm going to mute you again, Eric, just so we don't hear that feedback. Any other questions? Again, you can raise your hand or you can drop it in the chat box, either one. And don't be shy, this is your time. Don't waste your time on the call with me if you know that you have something you need addressed. Okay, let's do this. I know that the last few weeks we've been really highly focused on refinances, just because here we have a question in the box. Can you send yourself a TCA with video so we can see how the client sees the video upon receipt? I have attempted to send one, but the video recording through the mobile app did not deliver, only the TCA link. Okay, so here is Julio. This is the easiest way to do it. So if I have a TCA, and I'll throw a video on it really quick. Now I'm just going to go up here to record my video or see if one is on there. Record it in the web browser. So if I'm recording the video and I have no idea, this is a current refi to a 30 and a 30 with 10,000 back. I'm going to record my video. Hey Laura, I'm excited that you're moving forward, so I'm showing you those options. I'm showing you to be able to refi it straight or to pull that 10,000 out and pay that extra debt off. Look into the numbers. I've dropped it all in here. I'm excited. It's going to save you a lot of money by rolling that 10,000 in, because what's not reflected in here is that savings with your interest rate of that credit card. So please call me. Let us go over it together so I can really dive into the numbers a little deeper for you. Stopping that video, uploading that video onto here. It will tell me it's uploading the video, and then it will tell me it is complete with uploading that video. Now, all I need to do to pretend like I am the borrower is click this share link, copy this link, open up another window, drop the link in, and open it up. This is the exact same link that your clients will be receiving. Once it's opened up, they have to accept their disclosures. I'm going to record my video. Hey, Laura. And you can see the video just starts when they click on it. So that is the fastest way for you to go in and see that video. Also remember, if you're in the video or the same TCA as your client and you highlight something, it's highlighting on their screen. If you go in and jump into more information, it's going to jump into that more information on their screen. And that's called our Mortgage Coach Live feature. So this is going to let you really dive into the conversation with the client. So where do we go? Previous presentations. Are you, Eric, are you talking about recordings that have been recorded for the Q&A call and your own presentations? Your total cost analysis? Okay, so in Mortgage Coach, one thing is, once I record over this video that is in here, we do not save the videos. And the videos we don't save simply because it would take up too much room. It would then slow down the upload of Mortgage Coach for your clients. But you can see your total cost analysis that you built out before. If you go into your search all, and I'm going to go into one of them that I know I've built out. I can go into here, and down here at the bottom, I can click View History. And if I have where I've made changes, that history is going to show in there. Let's see if any of these have history on it. Yep, here we go. So you can see each time I made a change to the presentation, it remembers that change to the presentation. If I click into it, I can view what that presentation was. So it's easy just to dive in there. There's a video, but that doesn't look like it's working. So once I go in here, I can see exactly what it was at that time. But that video that I showed, and I'm just going to show this one. Now if I go over here and click on this one, you'll see the video's the same video. So whatever video is attached, that's the video that it will display in here. It does not change the videos out because it records over the old video. For samples, that's a great question, and we will go into the help button. Actually, no, I'm just gonna go to mortgagecoach.com. There is an area in here at mortgagecoach.com. There's two spots. First one is Mortgage Coach Strategies, and I'll give you the link to this one. This is actually going to show you samples and talk about the strategies that you can build out in Mortgage Coach. But each of these do have a sample TCA in there that you can look at. They also, many of them have videos as well. There's a second one in here. That I will give you, example total cost analysis. And again, this one isn't quite as detailed as the first sample I gave, but what this does is it tells you clearly the strategy, the presentation, and even the market they were in. Now remember, I will tell you when we built this page out, a lot of these were 2018, and I don't think that the loan officer has updated them. Looks like they have uploaded a few new ones in here that I haven't seen, but definitely a great place to go in and see examples on what other loan officers are doing. My favorite thing about this is sometimes you really shouldn't be creating the wheel. You should just go find someone who has a similar style as you and go in and watch them. They're the ones that you should be paying most attention to. And you can learn a lot about their learnings or their styles. A lot of these are top loan officers. Go in our Facebook page and search them. If I go in Kelly Zitlow, I'll just put Kelly in there. I can come in and I can find Kelly. Where's my post? And find ones of where she's posted because I know that she's posted, and then I can go and look at her video and how she's doing things. And if she's someone that's similar to me, I can pull out from her videos what's going to work for me. So a lot of the information in there is great information, and these people share because they do want people to be able to learn from them. They're leaders in the community. So don't feel bad going in there and saying, okay, so you know, I'm similar to this person, but I also know there's certain people out there in the industry that are just very unique in who they are. And you could probably pull stuff from them, but you know, they're just a little bit unique and out there, and that's okay too. So if you're that person, you have that sample as well. Any other questions? And those are great. I don't give out a lot of resources in here normally, so. And remember, for those who want those, they're posted in the chat box. And rent versus buy, just to tell anyone on here, let's say I do a purchase. If I do a purchase and it initially is not a rent versus own, and I've already created this whole purchase, and then I go in here, I can switch it to yes, it's a rent versus own. And the only thing that's going to change for me is in the assumption, it's now going to ask me information about my current rent, my rent increase, my monthly renter's insurance, and then other rental expenses. Other rental expenses are, am I renting a washer and dryer, carport, garage? Do I have a monthly pet fee? Anything that's going to disappear once I no longer am renting. Now when I go to the end of the presentation and I preview it, I don't have to recreate the whole thing. It's just a toggle of that button. So I can go in here and now I have my rent versus own when I started with just building out a normal purchase total cost analysis, and it adds that rent. Remember, you can have up to 4 products. If you're showing rent, that rent is on there. If you're showing a refinance, that refinance would be a 5th product as well. But you can clearly see now how it displays with that rent versus own on there. So general schedule, Monday. Monday is the class you want. That's that intro class. So the intro class is definitely the best one to jump into to get your feet wet if you want to do that live learning. So any questions on a rent versus own analysis, why I'm on a rent versus own? And again, you can raise your hand. Everyone's really quiet today. It's Thursday, come on, only one more day till Friday. We can do this. Now remember, the rent versus own, these windows here, the graphs are different. So that's a good question. The net monthly payment, I'm actually gonna put it side by side to explain that net monthly payment to you. On this net monthly payment, what it is taking into consideration is the unrecoverable cost. So it is taking my total payment, which is right here, and it is taking away any money that's coming back into my pocket. What comes back into my pocket? Principal paid. And if I am showing tax benefit, that money comes back to my pocket as well. That would be subtracted. That's where I'm getting this net monthly paid. So it is not the total payment that you see in the TCA. It is the unrecoverable cost of home ownership and rent. So if I did show tax benefit, there would be a tax benefit being subtracted here as well, because again, that tax benefit, even though they're renting, standard deduction is so high that it is still a benefit of renting at this point. If you're a single person, it's like $270 a month. Now in this case, a single person, it would be safe. And if it's a married couple, I can figure it out really quick because I know the math, but I want to say it's around $460. So even on this one, it looks like they would probably see a benefit of purchasing over renting with the tax benefit as well. So remember that tax benefit if you do choose to show it. Now, if you don't choose to show tax benefit, rent versus principal paid is the only window you want to show here. I'm going to go into the analysis area. The other ones that you do have in there are both tax benefit associated. So if you are doing that, make sure that this is the one that you're showing if you are not showing tax benefit. Last window, it's the same choices as normal. But remember when showing net worth, this is kind of nice, is that net worth, there is no net worth in renting. So this would be a 0 amount. So now you're showing your client, hey, you're growing wealth here where you're renting. Not only are you renting, it's costing you an arm and a leg, but it also is having the issue here with the rent. Yes, it does calculate the tax benefit. Here is, I'm going to show you the window that it goes into. Go into your affordability, and I'm going to click to the next page. Actually, did I just pass it? Okay, the affordability, you scroll on down, standard deduction. Now, let's say I don't know what those standard deductions are. If your toolbox is not open, open that toolbox. We put a cheat sheet in there for you. So let's do a single person because I know they're going to have a tax benefit on here. Their standard deduction is $12,000. They're getting that deduction regardless of owning a home or not. Let's say they are in the 28% tax bracket range. They're filing single. So now when I advance this, it will automatically calculate their tax benefit, and it will adjust in a minute. There we go. So now we can see that tax benefit here. So in this case, they are getting a tax benefit. On this last construction home, they don't have a tax benefit because it matches the tax benefit of the rent. That's how you know, is there a tax benefit or not? In this case, there is not a tax benefit. In these cases, there is a tax benefit. Now let's go in and adjust it to a married couple. So if I go in here, a married couple is $24,000. They probably are somewhere around 33%. That's the most common. Changing it to married couple filing jointly. Now, married couple filing jointly, we'll see it adjust to that. And again, you can quickly see there's no tax benefit, $660. So they are all $660 across the board. There is no tax benefit. That breakoff for a tax benefit for a married couple is above the $550 range. It depends on their tax bracket and their interest rate on what it is. But basically, you're going to take the, I'm going to go back here. You're going to take the tax benefit, multiply it times their tax bracket, divide it by the 12 months. And the other way is taking the interest of the home. Now, I don't see it on here, but I can go to my help site, tax benefit. And here breaks down how it is calculated. We had someone go in there and calculate it, and it took us a long time to get these calculations right. It does take into consideration all of the caps, and everything is taken into consideration. So that is there for you as well. So property taxes, Michelle, I would ask your tax advisor for your state. It really does depend on that. Most states, yes, it is a tax write-off, but it's how the state words the the property tax. So it is based on their state. In most cases, yes, property tax is a write-off in most states, but I do know that there's a couple that's an exception, but I don't know which ones they are off the top of my head. So if you tell me which state it is, I can probably tell you yes or no from that. You can show it. So if you go into, and I'm going to go back into that purchase. If I go into the purchase, there is a little box, and it's on the third page, the monthly page, property tax deductible. Check that box. So you can go in and you can have that one as well deducted off of it. Oh yeah, so yeah, you guys are lucky. You guys don't even have it. She's in Nevada. By the way, if you want to move somewhere that you don't have property tax, there's a few of those states out there, Nevada being one of them. Just don't be a gambler, because all that property tax money will end up in your gambling funds. So any other questions that you guys have on property tax or doing the tax deductions? Any questions that someone else has? Again, you can raise your hand if you do have a question. Feel free to raise your hand. I will open up your mic for you so you don't have to type it in. Or if you prefer to type it in, you can type it down in the body of the chat box, either one. Recent subjects that we have been covering, a lot of refinance scenario information, cash out refinance scenarios. it's mostly the last 4 weeks for me. This call has been focused on refinances. So that's been a deep dive conversation for the last 4 weeks. Couple others that I haven't touched on, but we are starting to see a little bit of movement in the market. We're starting to see some seller buy down stuff come in pretty heavy. So I don't know, honestly, based on the market, it's not a seller buy down market in most places. And for those of you who don't know what a seller buy down is, it's simply having the seller pay points. So it's not really that type of market right now, but there are people leveraging it. And there is a way to leverage that seller buy down in order to help people get in. So if someone has a second and they want to leave the second, they're subordinating it to show the difference between getting rid of it or keeping it. Okay, so I'm going to just go into new client, and we're going to give our client a name. I would give them a phone number. And this is a refi. Remember, my new little trick is to place in there when you expect to close it. So I'm going to say July 2020. Why? If I use my search engine and I search presentation name just July 2020, I can quickly pull up all my expected closures so I don't have to go through my pipeline and try to figure out when those closures are. And this helps me be able to quickly tell my manager, hey, which one will close, so I can give them numbers. I'm all about speed. Property street address, that's the only thing I would add in there. And I like just clicking other because I simplify things so much. What is today's appraisal value? I'm going to put 450. And then I'm going to put information about the current loan. So if you do not have this current information right there on a statement, where can you pull it? There are several places you can pull it. You can pull it from title if you have the ability to pull title. If you don't have the ability to pull title, please ask your title person to give you access. Most of them can easily give you access to it, and then you can just pull it. So that's one place. And I'm just putting in basic terminology here. Second place is if you have pulled credit. The highest loan amount is your starting loan amount, and it will show you when it started being paid. Remember, that's the closing date, so you want to add a month to it. And then the third spot is HomeBot. You can go in. HomeBot has most of this information as well. So what HomeBot doesn't have is they don't have the property tax and hazard insurance. So that's where they do not have it, but the basic loan information is typically on there for you, as well as the start date and the original loan amount. So remaining balance, let's say my client actually has a payoff statement, and we are going to go with 309 as the remaining balance. I simply type it over this spot right here. It's not going to adjust my P&I payment. Moving on through, I would add in actual numbers for my hazard, actual numbers for my property tax. Now I'm going to add my second loan. Now, second loans, I would go in, I'm just going to say this was a SIMO taken out, and I don't remember which date I used. So we're going to pretend 2010, I believe. Original loan amount, let's say it was $15,000. They were at a 3.675. It's a 20-year loan, and I'm just making up numbers. It was interest only for the first 120. Now, I can change my loan type. If they have a HELOC or if they have an ARM, I would change it here. Now, here's a problem that I've seen a lot of the people when they are working HELOC. They're like, but this is not the same payment my client is making. You are correct. It probably is not. Underneath where it says HELOC, you have to decide, are they doing a percentage of it, or are they making actual payments? Is it set up so it's $250 every month regardless, or are they doing 5% of the loan? So that's the one spot that I'm seeing people have issues with. Then on the second page is all the adjustment caps. So in this video I gave earlier, I'm going to give you directly this HELOC video. It breaks down all of the little spots for you. So if you were having problems with the HELOC, go into here. That is actually the best video that we have on the HELOCs. I'm going to go back now. I'm going to remove it and just put it a fixed loan just for time's sake so I don't have to fill everything in. And then if I need DTI and stuff, I could fill this in. I'm not going to fill it in. So I'm just going to do a 30-year refi. And I'm going to keep the seconds with second. First thing I'm doing is copying it from my current and clicking on OK. So that is the first step I do. I am now going to switch it to, is it a refi, to yes. So we can look up here and we can see everything right now is the same. Now when I come down here, I can change my interest rate. My term is going to stay 30-year. I'm going to take my closing cost, add my closing cost on there. I would adjust it, make sure everything's correct, apply that closing cost, do my prepaid days of interest. If there's points or a lender credit, I'm just going to add a little bit of points just so we can see what's going to happen. And then my hazard insurance and property taxes in there, I'm just going to do 2 months here and 2 months here. I'm actually going to change my reserve days to only 5, or prepaid days. So now what you see here is I have a cash out. Actually, it shouldn't say cash out. It should say they have to bring $10,000 to the table. I'll make sure nothing was marked. It increased my loan amount. I'm thinking base loan amount $323.60. So I need to readjust this base loan amount back to the same base loan amount that is in my assumptions, because it automatically adds it on there. So I want my base loan amounts to be the $309,128. Whoops, wrong button. So $309,128 would be my base loan amount, and I just did a copy and paste. Now we should be bringing money to the table. So if I don't want to bring cash to close, what I'm going to do is I have to add fees to the loan. Fastest way to add fees to the loan is the closing cost details. Down here at the bottom, add all fees to the loan. Check that, apply it to the loan. But you'll see there's still an amount here. That amount is 2 things. My points, I can add the points to there. And then the other thing is my prepaid days of interest. Adding my prepaid days of interest. Now when I advance forward, it will zero it out. So now it is added to the loan amount. When you're doing the second loan, and I'm going to this is all on the second. If I need to adjust, but this one's just being resubordinated, I am going to go to the end of that second loan to add another product. I have 2 choices here. One is, what does the button, is this a refinance do? Okay, so when you switch it, and I'm going to show you on my second product, I am going to do the 30-year without second. So I am going to add my second. Actually, I'm just going to put cash out. So I'm going to add my second to the loan amount. So when I do this, I'm going to copy it from a product, copy it from the current. Now, what is this a refinance do? What it does is it actually breaks in the equity. So if I was just to do this now, it would show this as a down payment. So they would have to bring that much cash to the door. Once I switch it to, is it a refi? It actually turns money into equity. So now I don't have that refi in there, or I have that refi in there. Now when I come down here, I would again change my interest rate, and I would add my loan amounts, and I'm just going to, I never know which one of these to purchase or to use. I'm going to apply that to the loan. I'm going to add in if there's points, prepaid days of interest, and I'm going to set it up the same. But what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to turn off my second loan. So does it have a second? No. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to add fees to the loan. Now here is something that is totally up to you. And did it add it? Does not look like it. So, okay, this was a lesson learned for me. If you're doing the second loan, do it on your first one if you're rolling it in for the cash out, because it does add it in initially there. And then here on this one, it did not increase my loan balance, I don't think, because it's the exact same. So I have to go back and I have to add my second loan to my first on this scenario. And I'm just going to add in 15,000 just to make it easy. Actually, that's not 15,000, but that will work. But you'll see a cash out amount then of the amount that you're adding in. This cash out amount should equal the amount of your second. What if I don't want to show this 10,000 here and I want to show it paying that second off? I can actually come into my closing cost. I can add a custom fee, pay off second, click on OK. Come down here to my payoff second. I can put my 10,000 in there. I'm going to add it to my PPE. This is that prepaid escrow. That means it's going to be taken care of in the prepaid escrow. And then you'll see it zeroed out. So that is how you add those funds in there, so to show that you are paying off that second. Does that make sense, Michelle? Any questions on that? Okay, any other questions? Oh, then to show the option with the second remaining versus the cash out. Yes. Well, right now I made them two different products. I made one product with the second. This one still has the second, and this one has the cash out. When I go to, I'll show you the output. When I go to the output, where you're going to see that difference is in that second loan. I'm just going to switch it to side by side. There's a little bit of difference on this one. There actually should be a bigger difference, I think. Let's look really quick. So, oh, the second payment wasn't that much. So here's the refi with the second. Here's your monthly P&I payments is right here. Because my numbers are so close, it didn't adjust a whole lot on that actual numbers. So just because I use a small amount for that second. But that's where you're going to see it, is in that actual monthly difference. Yes, if you do it on the first product, it will automatically add it to the loan amount when you're doing that switchover. So I see what you're asking. So when you do the copy from the original product and then switch it to yes, it's a refi on that first product, it will add it automatically. So, and the best place to check it is this little box here. You can check your loan amount. Did my loan amount increase or not? Because now my 30 with my second did increase because I put in my closing cost fees. But when I'm initially checking it, those closing cost fees wouldn't be in there. So that's where they would see it. Cool. Any other questions that anyone has? And again, you can raise your hand. There's only a few minutes left. So if there's no other questions, I'll let you guys go, but I don't want to let everyone go if you do have a question. So again, last call, if you have a question, raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll be jumping off the call, and thank you for your time today. I hope that you did learn something of value. If you do want a copy of the video, feel free to email me, tina@mortgagecoach.com, and hopefully I can get it done sometime today. I have calls back to back till 2 o'clock, so I will get it in there sometime. Thank you again. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye-bye.